All right, the women's basketball team closes out the regular season with a pair of games on the road this week, trailing to Maryland for a 5:30 p.m. game on Thursday, and wrapping up with a 1 p.m. game at Purdue on Sunday. Thursday's game can be seen live on BTN+. Head coach Bobbie Kelsey is here. She'll have some opening comments and then take questions.
We are, believe it or not, at the end of another year. I can't believe we're at the end. It's always bittersweet. Obviously, we had senior day this last game with our 6 seniors, and we'll miss them. You know, every year we go through the same thing as coaches. Usually you do have a senior. Some years you may not have one, but for the most part you do have seniors that are saying goodbye for the last time in front of the fans and home crowd. So obviously we wanted to win the game, but Northwestern's, in spite of their record, they're a pretty doggone good team, have some scorers that can do a lot of things out there. So we got Maryland and Purdue to wrap it up, and those games will be tough. But again, we'll just keep taking it one game at a time and keeping it basic. I think keeping things simple has helped our team with the turnovers and just keeping things under control as far as scoring and trying to execute our offense and doing the little things in the game. So we look forward to these last 2 games.
All right, questions for Coach? Dennis?
Last year, Maryland just kind of walked over to this conference, went undefeated, and this year they're not in first place. They're still really good. How do you compare what they are and maybe what have they done to influence the conference and raise the level throughout?
Oh, well, last year was their first year, so we weren't familiar. I think sometimes when you're familiar with teams, you can play them a little bit better. Obviously, them being a Final Four type caliber team, it's going to be tough no matter who they play, but I think Ohio State matches up really well with them. I think they beat them. I think if I'm not mistaken, they got beat by another team. I'm not sure exactly who that is. But, they're a tough cover. I mean, they have the #1 recruiting class next year. They got most of their team coming back. It's a tough cover to try to beat that kind of team, but that's why you play the games. You still play them, and you can upset anybody if you go in and do the little things and make your shots and execute on the offensive end. But for them to join the conference, they've really ramped it up for everybody. It's going to help you in recruiting because obviously kids from that area know that if they don't go there, they can come back that way and play in front of their home team and in front of their home and family and friends. So. Maryland's a good addition. I think they're a great team and well coached, and they're going to be tough.
Diane?
You talked about turnovers. The team averaged just 10.5 on the weekend. How that your ball control has improved here?
Oh yeah, that's key. You have to be able to keep the ball secured. And not give it to the other team because we don't have a lot of depth. Like I said, our margin for error is very slim, so we're trying to make sure that we don't give the ball back quickly or just, carelessly. You have to take care of it. You have to give yourself an opportunity on every possession to get a shot off. And so we've really been stressing that to our kids. We go over things over and over so they're comfortable, they know their options, and they don't feel like they have to then go and try to create something that's not there. I think in the past that's been our problem. Kids weren't, you get down to a play and you just got to make one. Well, if you don't know the options or you're not sure, then you tend to make more mistakes. And so we've really done a great job with that. I think that's something that last year really hurt us, and this year hasn't hurt us as much as it has in the past.
Brian?
Bobbie, how do you get the offense going here with the postseason coming up?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because Nicole is, paid attention to a whole lot more than she has in the past. Mick has not been as consistent, not that threat that she was before her injury. I think when you don't have 2 or 3 people that they have to guard, it makes it harder for the ones they do have to guard. Dakota's been covered, but she's shown what she can do. We just got to get them scoring at the same time. You'll have a game or 2 where one will score, another 2, I call them the big 3, Mick, Dakota, and Nicole. If we can get them scoring at the same time, then you got to cover a post player and 2 guards, which one of them is your point guard. But they have not been able to score at the same time, and I'm trying to figure out why not. We try to get, we have plays to get Mick the ball in certain situations, Nicole the ball in certain situations, Dakota the ball. But some of that falls on players. They have to, come ready to play and be confident that they are a threat. And sometimes, when the shots aren't going right away, then, they kind of get a little down about, whether they can make those shots. But we're always trying to lift them. Hey, you've done it before. We've seen it. Let's go out here and get it done again. So I think that would be helpful if we can get those 3. And then whoever can add on top of those 3. Every team got a 3, a big 3, I call them, that you have to pay attention to. You can name 3 on each team in our conference that you have to do that. We just got to get ours playing at the same time, and I think that's been a problem with the consistency. And it's not an injury thing. I think for Meg, she's confident her knee is fine, but she just can't get going, and that's been disappointing. I know for her personally, because she knows what she can do out there. And Nicole, she's gonna get her shots. She struggled a little bit, I think, because of the fact that they're face guarding her, and then others have to come along.
Dennis?
Yeah. We talked earlier about the scoring in the conference. Yesterday there's 3 teams that got well over 100 points. That put even more pressure on every team to have more offensive threats on the floor.
Some of that, I know we try to hold opponents down. I don't think anyone scored 100 on us, but we hadn't scored 100 either. So in that game, it was all offense. Well, the Michigan State, Minnesota, when you got Bantam having 52 points and Powers over here with 40, and then whoever else adding on, that's an incredible display of offensive, firepower. But then I think in the tournament, those teams are probably going to maybe sniff around the tournament. I know Michigan State probably has a really good shot. I'm not sure about Minnesota, but in my experience, you better play both ends of the floor, because those shots, the better teams probably won't give you those looks that you used to getting. So I think that hurts some teams when they maybe don't play the defense that they're going to need to play down the road. But we need the offense too. You got to play both ends of the floor. But it does put a little pressure on you. But if you have a defensive scheme, because you don't have those kind of people that can really get shots up and score 50-some points in a game, you better be playing some defense and maybe a little bit of both. When you don't have quite the matchup with the other team that maybe they can score a little bit more than you can.
Diane?
Can you talk about how crucial these last 2 games are, just kind of try to get things turned around, especially heading into the Big Ten tournament? Yeah,
they're very important. There's some teams that are 1 game above or below us in the standings. So it depending on how maybe the bottom 4 shake out, you could be anywhere in the seeding from 11 to 14. So these games are important for us, but all of our games are important because again, we don't have quite the margin for error that some other teams have. So we have to bring our absolute best game every time. And, to close it out, you do want to finish strong. So, that's always the goal, to finish as strong as possible. And both of them on the road, and we haven't really done that well on the road. So this is an opportunity for our kids, especially these seniors that are going to be, leaving, to show that we can do what we've done here at DeCole on the road.